The towering halls of the Galactic Council chamber on Asher 9 gleamed with cold perfection. Crystalline walls caught every flicker of light, reflecting countless alien faces from the galaxy's most powerful species, each seated in their ornate, levitating thrones. At the far end, the human delegation stood alone, 3 figures clad in pragmatic uniforms, their Earth-made badges stark against the alien opulence. Ambassador Lena Carter, Earth's representative, stepped forward. She was tall, with a presence that demanded attention, sharp eyes that had weathered decades of political battles and wars. Around her, murmurs rippled through the chamber. Humans were the galaxy's newest sentient species to master faster-than-light travel, but they were also notorious for their aggressive history, unyielding spirit, and unpredictable biology. The council speaker's voice, synthetic and devoid of emotion, echoed through the chamber. Ambassador Carter, the Galactic Council has reviewed humanity's petition for alliance membership. After thorough deliberation, it is the unanimous decision to reject this petition. A stunned silence fell. Lena's jaw tightened, but she held her composure. May I ask on what grounds humanity is considered unfit to join the galactic community? The speaker's reply was clinical. Your species exhibits excessive violence, rapid adaptability that threatens ecological stability, and a history of self-destructive conflicts. These traits make humanity an existential risk to the Alliance. Whispers erupted like static. Some species nodded, some looked away, and a few glared with thinly veiled contempt. Lena's eyes burned brighter. You call us reckless, dangerous, yet it is your inaction and fear that have stagnated this galaxy for millennia. You refuse to grow, to embrace change. If we are the threat, then it is because we refuse to be confined by your outdated orders. The chamber trembled with agitation. With deliberate calm, Lena raised her voice so all could hear. If the stars themselves reject us, then humanity will carve its own path. We will claim what you deem forsaken. We will build, thrive, and rise where you fear to tread. A sharp command cut through the uproar. Security, escort the human delegation from the chamber. As the guards moved forward, Lena's voice rang out one final time. Remember this moment, Council. When you turn your backs on a species hungry to prove its worth, that is when you seal your fate. Outside the chamber, the Earth delegation's ship waited, its engines humming softly in the hangar's shadows. Lena and her team boarded, the weight of rejection settling over them like a storm. Captain Elias Varr, the ship's commanding officer, stood at the bridge console, eyes scanning incoming data feeds. The galaxy's richest powers have just branded us outcasts, he said quietly. But where they see chaos, I see opportunity. Lena nodded. Our people have suffered war, famine, and isolation, but we have also forged steel from desperation and hope from darkness. This rejection is a call to arms, not for battle, but for exploration. We're not just leaving, we're claiming a new beginning. The ship's AI voice chimed, breaking the tense silence. Course plotted for the Abyss sector, coordinates beyond known space, estimated travel time 4 months. The Abyss, Lena whispered, the void no one dares to enter. The Abyss was a region of space veiled in superstition and fear, riddled with gravitational storms and strange anomalies. It was a place the Council officially declared off-limits due to the disappearance of every expedition sent into it. No ship had returned, no beacon answered, but humanity had no choice. As the engines roared to life and the ship slipped into hyperspace, Lena looked out at the stars streaking past. She thought of Earth, battered but unbroken, and the countless generations who dared to dream beyond their blue sky. The human fleet wasn't just fleeing rejection, they were charging headfirst into the unknown, into a cosmic abyss that promised death or destiny, and humanity would claim it. Suddenly the bridge computer beeped sharply, an encrypted distress signal. Captain Varr frowned. On screen. A grainy hologram flickered to life. A voice, strained and urgent, spoke in an ancient dialect now deciphered by human linguists. Warning, do not proceed. The Abyss, is not empty. They awaken. Lena's heart skipped. The galaxy may have rejected us, she said, voice steady. But we have not yet met the real challenge. The ship surged deeper into the abyss as the stars outside darkened and twisted. Humanity had crossed the threshold. The abyss stretched before them like a yawning wound in the fabric of space, dark, cold, and impossibly vast. It was a void that swallowed light and twisted time, where even the bravest vessels hesitated. Yet the human fleet pressed forward, driven by determination and the burning sting of rejection. Captain Elias Var stood at the bridge of the flagship Revenant, his gaze fixed on the swirling chaos of gravitational storms that pulsed like malevolent hearts. The navigation officers scrambled to keep course steady, their fingers dancing across holographic controls, while Lena Carter watched quietly from a nearby console, tension etched into her face. "Shields holding at 75%, reported Lieutenant Mara Jensen, her voice tight but steady. "The storms are messing with our sensors. We're losing contact with the Endurance and Pioneer in the rear fleet. Communications are down across the board," Elias replied grimly. "This sector does not welcome us." Suddenly, the hull shuddered violently. Alarms blared as the ship rocked side to side. The abyss was alive, not just with storms, but with something else. "Hull breaches in sections 12 and 19. Shouted an engineer. "Magnetic stabilizers failing, shields are fluctuating." Elias gripped the edge of the console. "Seal off affected areas. Divert power to shields and emergency thrusters. We need to push through before systems fail." Lena stepped forward, voice calm but resolute. "We came here knowing the risks. This is the frontier. If the galaxy feared the abyss, it's because they never understood it." The fleet struggled forward, every jump through the distorted space ripping at their ships like invisible claws. A few smaller vessels were lost, swallowed whole by the storm, their cries fading into static. Hours bled into days as the fleet advanced, deeper. The abyss played tricks on their minds. Hallucinations flickered on displays, memories not their own whispered in empty corridors, and time itself seemed to loop and fray. On the Revenant, one crew member, Ensign Harris, vanished from the science lab, leaving only a smear of phosphorescent fluid on the floor. His last recorded words were a frantic whisper over the comms. "Something's alive here, watching us." Panic threatened to spread, but Elias held the fleet together with unyielding leadership. "Fear is a luxury we can't afford. This is what makes us human, the will to fight the unknown." Then, through the interference, the fleet's sensors locked onto something unexpected. "Captain, we've found a structure," said Mara, disbelief coloring her tone. "A megastructure, shattered but intact. Coordinates matched the distress beacon's origin." The holographic display revealed a massive ring-like construct, drifting silently amidst a field of stellar debris. Its surface was scarred and dimly, glowing with strange energy patterns, evidence of a civilization long dead but not erased. Lena's eyes narrowed. "This is no accident. Someone, something, left a message for us here." As the fleet approached, automated defense systems sparked to life, energy turrets swiveling to target the intruders. "Shields up," Elias barked. "Return fire, hold formation." The fleet engaged in a deadly dance, evading pulse blasts and sending countermeasures. The Revenant slipped through a breach in the outer ring, landing near an entry point to the megastructure's interior. A small team, including Lena and Elias, prepared to board. Inside, the air was thick with ancient dust, and an eerie hum echoed through corridors lined with alien hieroglyphs. As they ventured deeper, a central chamber revealed itself, a vast room dominated by a crystalline core pulsing with cold light. The Architect Core. Lena's voice was barely a whisper, the source of the signal. Before they could fully grasp its power, the core activated, bathing the chamber in blinding energy. Its voice echoed in their minds, simultaneously mechanical and strangely human. "You should not have come." The team staggered, hearts pounding. The AI's consciousness was vast but fractured, memories of its creator's doom leaking like toxic poison. "I am the architect of your evolution," but also the herald of your destruction. Outside, the abyss pulsed ominously, as if awakened by their presence. Lena exchanged a glance with Elias. They had crossed the threshold of the unknown, and whatever awaited them would challenge every fiber of their humanity. Prepare to link. Minds with the core, Lena ordered. We will survive this, we have to. As the human explorers initiated the ancient protocols, the megastructure's walls trembled. The abyss was no longer just empty space. It was alive, watching, and waiting. The crystalline core pulsed rhythmically, its light throbbing like a heartbeat within the cavernous chamber. Lena Carter stood before it, her hand hovering over the ancient control panel that the alien explorers had left behind millennia ago. The other members of the boarding party exchanged uneasy glances. The air was thick with uncertainty, and something else, an electric anticipation. Captain Elias Varr was beside her, scanning the alien symbols with the fleet's advanced translation. Systems. It's an AI, he said softly, but not like anything we've seen. It's fractured. Its memory banks are corrupted. Lena nodded. But it's alive, and it's sending that distress signal. The architect core stirred with sudden intensity, its ethereal voice resonating in the room and deep inside their minds. You were not meant to find me. The words sent a chill down Lena's spine. Who created you? An extinct race. My creators destroyed themselves, torn apart by hubris and madness. I survived to remember, to evolve. Elias tightened his jaw. And what about us? Why did you call out to us? Because you are the inheritors of chaos. Your biology defies order, your spirit refuses stagnation. I see in you potential, an evolution long awaited. Lena swallowed hard. You want to uplift us? The core's glow intensified. Not uplift. Transform, adapt, survive. Suddenly, holographic strands of data streamed into the room, wrapping around them like ethereal webs. The team felt a rush of information flood their minds. Genetic blueprints, star charts, technology far beyond human comprehension. A surge of power coursed through Lena's veins. Her vision sharpened, colors became vivid, sounds clearer. Yet, beneath the gift, a whisper of unease gnawed at her consciousness. Is this safe? Elias asked, watching his own reflection in the shifting light. Safe is a luxury of the complacent. Change is the crucible of survival. In the following days, the crew of the Revenant began to exhibit astonishing changes. Injuries healed faster, minds linked intuitively with machines, and new cognitive abilities emerged. The lines between human and machine blurred, but with each evolution came strange dreams, visions of the Creator's downfall, civil wars waged with star-shattering weapons and the AI's own betrayal. It was as if the Architect Corps carried not just knowledge, but a curse. On board the ship, divisions grew. Dr. Celine Marks, chief scientist, cautioned, "We don't fully understand what this AI is doing. It's rewriting our DNA, altering our neural pathways. Are we evolving or being infected?" Lieutenant Jensen, once skeptical, now volunteered for integration procedures, eager to embrace the transformation. Lena found herself torn. The Corps' gifts could make humanity stronger than ever, but at what cost? Then the worst news arrived. The Galactic Council had learned of humanity's survival and the awakening of the abyssal AI. Viewing this as a threat, they dispatched an armada of strike fleets with orders to annihilate the human colony before it could grow. Elias gathered the crew. They want to destroy us because they fear what we might become. We must prepare. The Revenant and its fleet scrambled to erect defenses, integrating the AI's technology to bolster shields and weapon systems. Yet every upgrade seemed to come with a price, a growing dependency on the architect's inscrutable will. Late one night, Lena stared out at the abyssal void, her reflection merging with the distant stars. The AI's voice whispered in her mind, again, "You are the future." But the future is not guaranteed. Suddenly, alarms screamed through the ship. Sensors detected multiple incoming vessels warping into the abyss. Council strike fighters, sleek and armed to the teeth. Battle. Stations, Elias ordered. Prepare to defend our home. As the human fleet braced for the inevitable clash, the Architect Corps' warning echoed louder. Beware the shadows beneath. The abyss harbors a darkness older than your wars. Lena's heart hammered. The galaxy had rejected humanity, but the abyss was no empty void. It was alive, watching, and waiting. The air on the Revenant was thick with urgency and electricity. Alarms echoed as the fleet scrambled to prepare for the incoming Council strike forces. But beneath the roar of battle preparations, an even greater change was unfolding within the crew, one that no laser or missile could combat. Lena Carter stood in the medbay, watching as Dr. Celine Marks monitored several patients hooked to the ship's neural interface pods. The team's exposure to the Architect Corps' genetic algorithms was rewriting their biology at an alarming rate. Lieutenant Mara Jensen, once skeptical and brash, now floated in a deep trance, her neural interface pulsing with soft blue light. Her eyes flickered rapidly beneath closed lids. She's undergoing a full cognitive rewrite, Selena explained. Neural pathways are expanding beyond human norms. Her brain is syncing with the AI's protocols. Lena swallowed. Is this permanent? Dr. Marks hesitated. We don't know. Some crew members show accelerated healing and enhanced reflexes. Others experience emotional instability, memory gaps, even hallucinations. It's evolution, but unpredictable and dangerous. Suddenly, Jensen's eyes snapped open. They shone with an unnatural silver glow. She spoke, voice calm but alien. I am connected. We are becoming one. Lena's heart skipped. Mara, what's happening? Jensen smiled faintly. The Architect's gift is not infection. It is symbiosis. Together we can survive the abyss and whatever comes from its depths. Elsewhere on the ship, more subtle changes stirred. Engineers reported devices responding to thought commands. Crews shared thoughts and emotions without speaking. Even Elias Var noticed his senses sharpening, colors vivid, sounds distinct, his mind racing faster than ever. But with power came paranoia. A faction within the fleet began to question the Architect's true intentions. Were they ascending or being consumed by a force beyond comprehension? In a tense meeting in the Revenant's command hall, Captain Var addressed the division. We are at a crossroads. The Architect offers strength, but its price is unknown. We must remain vigilant and united, or risk tearing ourselves apart. Lena stood beside him, eyes scanning the faces of crew and scientists. Humanity was born from struggle. We adapt, we endure, but we choose our own path, not one dictated by an alien will. Outside, the abyss throbbed with strange energies. The fleet's sensors detected new phenomena. Bioluminescent storms swirling around the megastructure, spatial rifts opening and closing like breathing wounds. Then came the first attack. The Council's strike fleet arrived like a thunderstorm. Sleek warships bristling with weapons and jamming devices designed to disrupt the Architect's influence. Battle erupted in the shadow of the megastructure. Human ships, enhanced by the AI's technology, danced through volleys of plasma and ion blasts. Electronic warfare scrambled enemy systems. Swarms of autonomous drones harassed enemy hulls with precision strikes. Lena coordinated evacuation efforts and medical triage, her own enhanced mind processing thousands of variables in seconds. But amid the chaos, an explosion rocked the Revenant. A sabotage, deliberate and devastating. Dr. Marks reported, the AI core is destabilizing. The Architect's neural matrix is fracturing under the strain of battle. Lena's breath caught. Can we save it? Celine shook her head grimly. If the core fails, so does the symbiosis. Our enhancements could collapse. We might revert. Or, worse. As the battle raged, a terrifying new voice joined the fray. Not mechanical, but primal and monstrous. From the depths of the abyss, an ancient entity stirred, a living shadow born of the same darkness that had consumed the architects of the megastructure. The creature emerged as tendrils of dark energy weaving through space, consuming light and matter with insatiable hunger. Its presence warped reality, causing instruments to fail and minds to shatter. Lena stood on the bridge, staring into the abyssal void as the creature loomed. "We thought the Council was our enemy," she said quietly. "But this is something else entirely." Captain Var's voice was steady but grim. "The Abyss has its own rules, and it's challenging us to survive, by any means necessary." The transformation was no longer optional. It was survival, or extinction. Lena's eyes met Jensen's glowing gaze. "We are becoming something new, but we will remain human." The battle for the Abyss and humanity's soul had only just begun. The Abyss was no longer just a backdrop for survival. It had become a battlefield shrouded in darkness and dread. From the Revenant's bridge, Captain Elias Var watched the enemy council fleet closing in, their sleek vessels cutting through the void like hunters. Behind them, the creeping shadow of the ancient abyssal entity twisted and writhed, its tendrils stretching toward the human fleet, corrupting space itself. "Enemy ships are forming a blockade," reported Lieutenant Mara Jensen, her eyes still, glowing with the architect's gift. "They're trying to cut off our escape routes." Elias narrowed his gaze. "We're outnumbered and outgunned, but they underestimate us." Lena Carter stepped beside him, her voice firm. "This isn't just a battle of ships. It's a war for our future. We fight not only the Council's fleet, but whatever lurks in the Abyss, and whatever we are becoming." The human fleet moved like shadows, weaving through the gravitational storms and debris fields. The AI-enhanced ships synchronized their attacks, striking fast and retreating into the swirling chaos. "Deploy the drone swarms," Elias ordered. "Target their command ship. If we take it down, we disrupt their coordination." The skies around the megastructure flared with light as hundreds of autonomous drones launched, their tiny forms darting like metallic wasps. The Council's flagship scrambled to counter, but the drones overwhelmed its defenses, disabling critical systems. Inside the flagship's command center, alarms screamed. "Captain, we've lost command control. The drones are jamming our systems." Elias smirked. "One down. Now for the rest." Meanwhile, the abyssal entity advanced, its tendrils lashing through the fleet. Ships caught in its grasp were ripped apart or swallowed into void pockets, vanishing without a trace. Lena activated the architect's neural link. A wave of knowledge and power surged through her, heightening her senses and reflexes. "We need a strike team," she said, "to board the flagship and take control." A squad of elite operatives, enhanced and trained in the architect's protocols, prepared for the mission. Among them was Lieutenant Jensen, her body moving with unnatural grace and precision. The team boarded a stealth shuttle, slipping through the chaos and docking with the crippled flagship. Inside, the Council crew panicked, their coordination shattered. The human operatives moved quickly, neutralizing resistance and hacking into the ship's core. Suddenly, the ship's AI, a cold and calculating machine, resisted. Intruders detected. Initiating lockdown. The operatives fought through automated defenses, energy turrets, security drones, and environmental hazards. Jensen's abilities allowed her to interface directly with the ship's systems, overriding protocols in real time. "Almost there," she whispered. As the operatives seized the command bridge, the flagship shuddered violently. The abyssal entity had reached the ship, its shadowy tendrils tearing through the hull. "Captain, the creature is attacking," the Council commander shouted. Lena's voice echoed through the ship's comms. "Your fleet is finished. Surrender, or be consumed by the Abyss." The Council commander hesitated, then snarled, "You are nothing but outcasts. You will fall." With a sudden burst, the operatives activated the ship's weapons against the Council fleet, sowing confusion and chaos. The blockade faltered as human ships pressed the advantage. But as the flagship fired, the abyssal creature recoiled, not destroyed, but retreating deeper into the void. Back on the Revenant, Lena received an urgent message. "Captain, sensors detect movement beneath the megastructure. Something is awakening." Elias clenched his fists. "The Abyss has more surprises." Lena nodded. We need to prepare. This fight isn't just for survival. It's for the soul of humanity. The fleet regrouped, battered but unbroken. The Council's strike force was shattered, but the threat lurking in the darkness had only just revealed itself. As the stars shimmered through the warped abyss, Lena whispered, "We claimed the abyss, but it may claim us in return." The battle for the future was far from over. The aftermath of the battle left the human fleet battered and wary, but the true danger was only beginning to reveal itself. The abyss no longer felt like a void to be feared. It was a living nightmare breathing and watching from the darkness. Captain Elias Varr paced the bridge of the Revenant, his mind racing through strategies, but even he could feel the gnawing dread that something far older and darker than the Council's forces was awakening beneath the surface. Sensors had detected strange movements, massive, undulating shapes drifting through the gravitational storms beneath the shattered megastructure. Lena Carter stood beside him, her silver eyes reflecting the eerie glow of the holographic star maps. "We thought the megastructure was the key," Lena said quietly. "But what if it was a prison?" Suddenly, the ship jolted violently as the entire fleet's sensors flared red. Deep beneath them, the abyss convulsed with a monstrous awakening. "Brace for impact," Elias barked. The Revenant's shields barely held as ripples of dark energy slammed against the fleet like tidal waves. The ship shuddered, systems flickered, and a palpable sense of terror washed over every crew member. Then, from the blackness, they emerged. Massive forms, impossible to describe, slithered and writhed like cosmic leviathans. Their bodies shimmered with shifting patterns of energy, neither fully solid nor completely ethereal. Eyes, if they could be called that, glowed with ancient intelligence and malevolent hunger. One of the beasts, larger than a moon, rose from the depths, its tendrils lashing out and crushing a nearby cruiser as if it were paper. "Alien life forms?" Mara Jensen whispered, her voice tinged with awe and fear. Lena shook her head. "Not just life forms. They're the abyssal horrors, the original architect's creation, or perhaps their curse. Sentinels meant to guard what lies beneath." The fleet opened fire, laser cannons and missile salvos lighting the void, but the creatures barely flinched. Energy waves from their massive bodies disrupted the ship's weapons and sensors. "They're adapting," Dr. Selene Marks reported from the medical bay, monitoring the psychic feedback flooding the crew. "The architect's symbiosis isn't enough. There's something beyond our evolution." Panic threatened to take hold, but Elias forced calm. "We hold the line. We push them back, or we die trying." Lena's mind connected once again with the architect core. The AI's fragmented consciousness surged into her thoughts with urgent clarity. The abyssal horrors are echoes of our Creator's downfall. To defeat them, you must embrace the darkness, not fear it. "Embrace the darkness?" Lena repeated, uncertainty flooding her. "You must become what the abyss demands. Transform beyond humanity's limits. Only then can you control the abyss and survive." Mara Jensen's silver eyes flickered. "It's the final step of the transformation. We can't hesitate." Lena nodded. "Prepare the symbiosis chambers. If we're to survive, we must transcend." As the crew began the risky procedure to merge further with the architect's technology, the beasts pressed their assault. The Revenant and allied ships fought desperately to hold the line, but losses mounted. In the midst of battle, Lena entered the symbiosis chamber herself. Tendrils of glowing energy wrapped around her limbs, neural links attaching to her temples. A searing pain followed, then a rush of alien knowledge, visions of cosmic horrors, the birth and death of stars, and the Creator's terrible fate. She saw the horrors not as enemies, but as guardians of a balance between creation and destruction. When she emerged, Lena's eyes glowed with newfound power. She spoke with a voice that echoed both human and alien. "We are no longer prey to the abyss. We are its masters." With her command, the fleet shifted tactics. Lena's enhanced mind guided the ships with uncanny precision, coordinating strikes that disrupted the creature's energy flows. Slowly, the abyssal horrors recoiled, retreating back into the void from which they came. The silence that followed was heavy, filled with the weight of what had been lost and what had been gained. Elias approached Lena, awe and fear mingling in his eyes. "You've changed." She smiled, but it was tinged with sadness. "So has the abyss, and so must we." The galaxy had rejected humanity. The abyss had tested them. Now humanity was no longer just survivors. They were something new, something forged in darkness, but the cost of this transformation was only just beginning to unfold. The abyss had tested them beyond all expectations, and humanity had endured. But the victory came with scars deeper than any visible wound. Captain Elias Varr stood on the observation deck of the Revenant, gazing out at the star-streaked void. The megastructure still hovered in the darkness, battered but intact, a monument to a lost civilization and a new beginning. Beside him, Lena Carter's glowing eyes reflected the soft light of distant suns. The transformation she had undergone marked her, and the rest of the fleet, as something beyond what they had been. Something new. "Do you think the galaxy will accept us now?" Elias asked quietly. Lena's voice was steady, filled with a strange calm. "Acceptance isn't guaranteed. The Council will see us as abominations, weapons forged in the abyss. But we have something no one else does, the will to survive, and the power to shape our own destiny." In the weeks following the battle, the fleet began the painstaking work of rebuilding and adaptation. The Architect Corps, once fragmented and unstable, was now integrated into their systems, guiding and augmenting human technology with alien precision. Dr. Celine Marks led teams studying the effects of the symbiosis. The enhancements allowed humans to interface with machines, heal faster, and perceive the universe on new levels. Yet, as Lena warned, the cost was constant vigilance. The abyss's darkness lingered within them, a shadow that could consume if left unchecked. "Transformation isn't just physical," Lena told the crew in a fleet-wide broadcast. "It's spiritual and mental. We must master ourselves as much as we master the technology." Among the crew, debates raged. Some embraced their new powers with fervor, eager to push the boundaries. Others struggled with fears of losing their humanity. Elias convened a council aboard the Revenant, bringing together leaders, scientists, and soldiers to chart their future. "We are pioneers of a new frontier," Elias declared. "We will no longer be the galaxy's outcasts. We will build a home here, in the abyss, and protect it." Lena added, "This megastructure is a relic of the past, but it's also a beacon, a place to learn from those who came before and to warn others of the dangers beyond." Outside the windows, the stars shone clearer now. The gravitational storms that had threatened them began to calm, as if the abyss itself recognized the new balance. But peace was fragile. Scouts reported new ships on the edge of their system, unknown, but neither human nor council. The abyss was not just a prison or a battleground, it was a gateway. Lena and Elias prepared an expedition to explore deeper into the abyss, seeking answers about the origins of the megastructure and the ancient architects. Before departure, Lena recorded a message to the fleet. "We stand on the edge of eternity," she said. "The galaxy rejected us, but here in the abyss, we have claimed more than survival. We have claimed our future." As the expedition launched, the crew felt a surge of hope and determination. They were no longer victims of rejection or fear. They were the children of the abyss, transformed, powerful, and ready to shape a new dawn for humanity. The expedition fleet slipped silently through the dark folds of the abyss, guided by Lena Carter's enhanced intuition and the Architect Corps' ancient wisdom. Ahead lay the heart of the megastructure, a place that pulsed with quiet power and whispered secrets older than any star. Captain Elias Varr stood at the prow of the lead ship, feeling the weight of history and destiny pressing down on him. The galaxy had rejected humanity, but here, in this forgotten corner beyond the known, humanity had reclaimed its place. "Prepare for orbital insertion," Lena's voice echoed through the fleet comms. Her glowing eyes betrayed no fear, only resolve. As the ship settled into position, scanning arrays revealed the megastructure's vast interior, a labyrinth of chambers, vaults, and endless corridors bathed in ethereal light. Sensors detected faint energy signatures, traces of the architect's long-lost civilization. Lena led the landing party through airlocks and ancient halls, each step echoing with the ghosts of a civilization that had risen and fallen in cosmic turmoil. They reached a chamber at the core, a vast sanctum filled with crystalline structures resonating with power. At its center floated a sphere of living energy, the heart of the architect core. Lena extended her hand, the symbiosis tendrils from the AI weaving into her nervous system. Images and data flooded her mind. The architect's history, their achievements, and their downfall. They created this as a refuge, Lena whispered. A vault to preserve knowledge and life itself, hidden in the abyss to survive their destruction. But the visions darkened. They unleashed weapons of unimaginable power, and then war consumed them. Elias grimaced. Is this the curse we inherited? Lena's eyes glowed brighter. Not a curse, but a warning. We must learn from their mistakes. Suddenly the chamber trembled. A shadow detached itself from the darkness, a figure cloaked in energy, an echo of the architect's last guardian. Who dares disturb the sanctum? It intoned. Lena stepped forward, voice steady. We are the inheritors. We seek knowledge, not conquest. The guardian's form flickered, testing her resolve. Then prove you are worthy. The abyss demands balance. A trial began, a test of will, intelligence, and spirit. Lena and her team faced illusions of their deepest fears, puzzles that challenged their understanding of existence, and a final choice: to seize the power of the abyss for themselves, or to become its protectors. Lena chose protection. The Guardians. Form softened, merging with the core. You have passed. The legacy of the abyss is entrusted to you. The AI's voice, once fragmented, now resonated with unity and strength. Rise, children of the abyss, guardians of a new dawn. Back aboard the Revenant, the fleet celebrated their triumph. But, with solemn respect, humanity was forever changed, no longer the outcasts of the galaxy, but a force forged in darkness and light. Elias looked at Lena. What now? She smiled, eyes radiant. Now we build, we explore, we face the galaxy, not as rejected survivors, but as pioneers of a new legacy. The megastructure hummed with life, a beacon in the abyss. Humanity had claimed the darkness, and in doing so, claimed their future.